Hi everyone, this is Frank Demora with the Last Chronicles of Planet Earth, and today is July 15th, 2011. I'm going to get right into Revelation chapter 18. Revelation 18, it gives us certain items that during the tribulation period, Jesus is going to take these items away from the people. These are the items that people hold dear to themselves. Instead of receiving Jesus Christ and holding him dear, we know that millions around the world, millions and millions of people around the world have other idols. And some of these idols are gold and silver. And I'm going to be counting or concentrating on the gold and the silver in chapter 18. I'm going to read you verse 11. It says, "And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for her no man buyeth the merchandise any more. The merchants," in verse 12, "the merchandise of gold and silver," and it lists some other items here, but I'm going to concentrate right for this purpose, for this broadcast, on the gold and the silver. Now, the book of Revelation gives us so many details, and we have so much wisdom by the Holy Spirit that He has given to us about the future of the world, and because of this, I know that the gold and the silver prices are going to shoot through the roof. I've been warning you about this for a very long time, and this is exactly what we're seeing take place. Now I'm going to go back and revisit a post, an earlier post that I gave to you last year. I'm going to quote a section from a report that I read, and you can go back into my website, www.bibleprophecyman.com, and you'll be able to click on that report so you'll understand why I'm giving it to you again. All the links are there. So let me read to you from my post last year what I said to you. And this came again on September of 28th, 2010. It says, "How many times have I written to you about the food prices and gold and silver prices skyrocketing? I've tried my best to show you that during the tribulation these prices would reach their max. I pointed out to you that in Revelation 18:12 that Jesus shows us that the prices of gold and silver would also skyrocket. We know that because the people are weeping over these items when they're taken away, and people just don't go over things that don't hold any value. Now, I quoted in that September 28th, 2010, they were talking about the future prices for gold, and this is what I quoted from there. It says, "Keeping more in step with what we see from Revelation chapter 18, that's what I wrote, I would count on the other experts on what they're saying about the price of gold," and I quote, "While gold is nearing $1,300 an ounce, 96 analysts think that it will reach at least $2,500 an ounce in the not too distant future. 55 of them even predict gold price over $5,000 an ounce." And this is what I warned you last year. Now, July 14th, 2011, we're coming to the current time now. There was an article that came out yesterday that I didn't put up. My post was fairly long and I didn't get a chance to do this, but this is under the picture that you see of these gold bullions. It says this: "Gold surged to an all-time high, $1,594 an ounce in London, and lifting silver to $39 an ounce." Okay? So we know that the price of gold reaching new records, silver's on its way up again, just like we know it's supposed to happen because the word of the Lord never fails. We know why those people are going to be weeping during the tribulation. Now let me read you some information about the economy, what's happening with the currencies, and then the gold, what's happening with the gold in the countries, and you'll understand the handwriting on the wall that Jesus has shown us. Now this is from July 15, 2011. "On one side of the Atlantic, the Eurozone debt crisis has spread to the countries that may be too big to save. Spain and Italy, though the RBS thinks that 3.5 trillion rescue fund would ensure survival for Europe's currency union. On the other side, the recovery has sputtered out and the printing presses are being oiled again. Brinkmanship between the Congress and the White House over the U.S. debt ceiling have compelled Moody to warn the very small but rising risk that the world's prominent power may default within 2 weeks. And this goes hand in hand with the decline of America. So, the unthinkable is now thinkable, said Ross Norman, director of the BullionDesk.com. Fed Chair Ben Bernanke confessed to Congress that the growth has failed to gain traction. Deflationary risks might reemerge, implying a need for additional policy support, he said. I told you to watch out for the deflation, and now they're telling you that it's coming. But let's go on. It says the bar to QE3, which is another bailout, yet more bond purchases, is even lower than markets had thought. The new intake of hard money men on the voting committee has not shifted Fed thinking despite global anger at the dollar displacement under QE2. In other words, under the last program it didn't work. The dollar is still taking a hit and is declining. Fueling the blaze, the emerging powers of Asia are almost all running on a loose monetary policies. It says most have negative real interest rates that push citizens out of bank accounts and into gold. Now this is where we start to get good. Into gold or property. China is a arch inflator. Prices are raising at 6.4%, yet the 1-year deposit rate is just 4.5%. India's central bank is far behind the curve. It is very scary. The flight to gold is accelerating at a faster and faster speed. Remember what Jesus said in Mark 13:8? The birth pangs of the last days. When you go back and read this article, that the gold is accelerating faster and faster. These are part of the birth pangs. It's accelerating faster and faster, said Peter Lembro, chairman of Britain's biggest pure gold listing. Okay, goes on. One of the big U.S. banks texted me today to say that the QE3 actually, if it happens, we could see gold at $5,000 and silver at $1,000. This is what I told you over a year ago, and now they're writing about it. Let me go on. It says, I feel terribly sorry for anyone on fixed incomes tied to the fiat currencies because they are not going to be able to buy things with that paper money, implying a need for an additional policy support, he said. So what they're saying to us is you have just the currencies, the United States currencies or whatever currencies that you have, it's deflating. And the money that we used to spend to buy a loaf of bread for 78 cents that is now close to $4, it's the same dollar, but the money is devaluing, whereas gold, it's not losing its value, and people from all over the world are flocking to the gold and the silver. Let me go on. It says, China is coy, revealing purchases with a long delay. It has admitted to doubling its gold reserves to 1,054 tons to $54 billion. This is just a tiny sliver of the 3.2 trillion reserves. China's Chamber of Commerce said that this could be raised eightfold to 8,000 tons. They're smart people. An advisor to the China's central bank said that in June that the country reserve strategy needs an urgent overhaul. Instead of buying paper IOUs from the prostate West, China should invest in strategic assets and accumulate gold by buying the dips. And it goes on to say in this article, step by step, the world is edging towards a revived gold standard as it becomes clear that Japan and the West have reached debt saturation. World Bank chief Robert Zulich said that it was time to consider employing gold as the international reference point. The Swiss parliament is to hold hearings on a parallel gold franc. Utah has recognized gold as the legal tender for the tax payments. So let me ask you, what part of the word in Revelation chapter 18 verses 11 and 12 can't you see? I mean, what Jesus showed us, we're actually seeing it being played out live, step by step, as we go through these birth pains. Jesus gave you information. He loves you. That's why he gave you this information. He doesn't want anybody to perish, but obviously people are going to have to make their own minds. And what I'm doing is hopefully giving you enough information, because there's a lot of people who don't want to follow the news. They're getting upset about all the news, so they don't follow news. And these same people don't even read the Bible, so there's never going to be a connection that will be made. And so what I'm doing is putting the connection together, the news and the current the prophecies and the current news, to show you Jesus' words, all of them are coming to pass, and they're all happening in one generation. Now there's other news today, and you can scroll down. I'm going to be doing some other YouTubes today for July 15th of 2011. But just let me ask you this. If this one segment didn't arouse you a little bit to get more information, I just ask you to go to my website, www.bibleprophecyman.com. And when you're there, get my book for free. You can download it today. There's all kinds of information in that new book about the gold and the silver and what's been happening over the years. You'll see my comments. You'll understand why it's so important to keep your watch on the news, because Jesus told us in many places in the scriptures over and over again, keep on the watch, keep on the watch, keep on the watch. If a man knew that he was going to be broken in, he would stand at the doorway waiting so that he would be able to protect his household. Jesus told us to keep on the watch, and yet most of the world is oblivious to what's happening, and it's very, very dangerous. So I'm doing my part the best I can to educate everybody to these last days events, because Jesus Christ is coming back, and by all accounts we know that it's going to happen very soon. So God bless. Scroll down and read some more news. Thanks.